When you take your scale weight and you get a number feedback either in kilos or pounds, that feedback is telling you how much food you have within your body, how much water, and it also gives you an indication of how much you weigh from an organs, muscles, and bones perspective. So when you step on the scale, think of it as that as the perspective that you're weighing as opposed to how much fat you have within your body. So if you step on the scale and it's gone up or down, people tend to either celebrate and rejoice or they freak out. But let's look at the different components that can have a lot of variability with this number. So we know the scale weight can be a reflection of many things, including our lean body mass, our total body water, and also our fat mass. We know that our total body water content is the main one that's going to have the most variability. And there are many things that can affect our scale weight, such as stress levels, such as food volume, such as when you had your last meal. So if you had it extremely late at night or later than you would normally have it, your scale weight is highly likely to be higher the next morning. We can also look into our sodium or electrolyte balance. Also for females, we can really look at hormones and time of the month, and this can have a large reflection on someone's scale weight. Also, if it's been particularly hot, this can have a huge indication as to your scale weight. Stresses as well, stresses such as like heavy training. So if someone's had a very big training session or a long training session, this can reflect on the scale. And this is why we must look as a scale weight as a tool. It's a tool that we use alongside clients taking photos, taking measurements, and also feedback on how their clothes are fitting and how they feel. A scale weight as a weekly average and then taken over a long period of time, so especially for females, they can then represent month on month and see when they're going to have a particular spike, and then they can use that as information. So once again, the scale is a tool, but it needs to be used appropriately. So how do you use the scale as an appropriate tool to measure how you are going, either with regards to your goals being weight loss, maintenance, or weight gain? When working with my clients, I always highly recommend that they take their scale weight first thing in the morning, after they've been to the bathroom, in the same amount of clothing, so that we get a level of accuracy. Then you want to take it every single day if possible, or as many times throughout that week as possible, and then work out the weekly average and compare weekly averages, compare the end of that week to the end of last week. Therefore, you're getting a better representation, as we know that scale weight has so many variable factors. This gives us a much better representation on how we are going within proceeding towards our goal. So for example, if our goal is weight loss and we can see that the weekly average is coming down, and if we're working with a female client, we can see potentially when weight maintenance may occur, and we can get a bigger picture by comparing weekly averages and then also monthly and progressing that way. We can see a much bigger picture and therefore use that as a really important tool. So what are the do's and don'ts of taking your scale weight? So the do's are to weigh yourself daily, and then take a weekly average and then compare the weekly averages week on week, and therefore you'll start to build up a picture month on month and you can compare how things are going. Always weigh roughly at the same time if possible. So you want to do that first thing in the morning, and you want to do this in the same kind of clothing, so minimal clothing, and after you've been to the bathroom. Make sure that you weigh in the same place as well, so that the scales are on the same type of floor, and therefore you're not going to get any misrepresentation through the scale. What I would suggest not doing when taking your scale weight is weighing after at night or after a big meal. Clearly your weight is going to be up, you've had a lot more food volume is high. Weighing at random times across a day, or weighing after a gym session. You see a lot of people hop on the scales after a gym session. Their weight is going to be elevated via that gym session and via hydration. Hopefully they've been hydrating themselves throughout that session. Another thing is, don't take one-off scale weights. So for example, if you take a one-off scale weight at 6 p.m. one night and then 3 weeks later you take it middle of the day, this has no ability to use as a tool because there's too many variations happening within those time periods. That's why taking a daily scale weight and using a weekly average is highly important, because we have an ability to use that as a comparison tool. So do I believe that people should take a scale weight? And this is where it comes down a little bit to the client and understanding your client. If your client has a very, very bad relationship with it and it's going to negatively impact them progressing forwards, and you can use other tools such as photos, measurements, and clothing, then the scale weight is one tool that you could leave out. If your client has an absolutely neutral relationship with the scale and doesn't have an emotional attachment to it, then it's going to be a great tool to use, get daily readings and therefore weekly averages. I'm going to link you some studies as well in the comments section to basically represent some studies that have come out that show that it is a great tool to use for not only weight loss but also weight maintenance, especially with clients that have lost a lot of weight over a period of time. So my final thoughts on the scale weight is it's a great tool. It's definitely a tool that you want to add to your toolkit to measure and monitor progress, but it does come down a little bit to how the client reacts to it.